about the opportunity Joker had in front of him. It was a missed opportunity. Missed in that what he is chasing is such legendary status. I'll give you a for instance. Somebody over the weekend tweeted a picture of 5 centers, and they left out the old timers. So they left out Wilt, Russell, and Kareem. But it was basically like, who's not making the cut here? And it was Hakeem, Shaq, Joker, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. That was the list. And to me, by the way, that was a very easy cut, and he was one of my favorite players growing up. But the answer to that is Patrick Ewing. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on that, 5 and 4 are simple. Patrick, who was a great player, but unlike the other 4 guys, has no MVPs and no championships. So that one's a pretty easy, X. The next guy you're getting rid of is David Robinson, who was a great player, 1 MVP, a couple championships, only one where he was still, a super impactful player. The 03 Spurs title, Robinson was a, super role player. And then it gets interesting. Joker, Shaq, and Hakeem. I have Joker still pretty solidly behind Shaq and Hakeem. That could have changed this postseason, right? That's a fair thing to say. Had he carried this team to the NBA Finals, much less to a championship, how does that, then how do we do Joker's resume of 3 MVPs, 2 rings versus Shaq, 1 MVP, 4 rings, Hakeem, 1 MVP, 2 rings, Hakeem, the greatest defensive player ever, Shaq, the most dominant at his apex, maybe player, certainly center ever, Joker, the best passer, connector, all that stuff. So it's a missed opportunity, not in that. I do not think that, Demonte, where do you stand on this? I do not come out of this series feeling like, there's an argument now Shai's the best player in the world, even though you agree.
No. Yeah, I agree that was not a thought that crossed my mind after the series. I still think Jokic is better than him.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. That, I understand that Joker, Shai just beat Joker in a series, and you could argue outplayed him. Joker's numbers in this series were good, and they were great by regular all-star standards. They were good by his. He was 28, 14, and 6 on, by his standards, not that efficient, 48/33. So again, that's a really good series. But he needed a legendary, when you are chasing legends, you need legendary series. And for him, the tough part is going to be this. Are there going to be how many more during the remainder of his prime? How many more time? How often is he going to have a team better than the one he had this year? And your answer to that might be that team was not that good this year. They fired their coach, and that's totally true. And MPJ got hurt, and Gordon got hurt at the very end of that series, but I don't think, just like, and we'll talk about this later, now that we saw the totality of Knicks Celtics, I don't think Tatum, tearing his Achilles changed the outcome of that series. I don't think Aaron Gordon straining his hamstring changed the outcome of that game, and therefore that series. So you might say, he should have a bunch of teams better than this one. How, though? That's the tricky part for Denver, is everyone talks about, obviously, you trade Michael Porter Jr. I don't know what great assets you get back for Michael Porter Jr. at this point. $40 million a year for a guy who there's no other way to put it at this point. He's like a very poor man's Zach LaVine. Just taller.
Wow. That's
No,
unfortunate.
I mean, Zach LaVine's a good
I like
player.
I like Zach LaVine a lot too.
Yeah, that's Zach LaVine is a good player. You know what? Like, I'm not killing him, but like Michael Porter Jr. is, to me, significantly worse than him.
Sorry to Nuggets fans if this is blasphemous or anything. I don't know what the contract situation is looking like either, but I mean, can anybody get out of the building? Like Jamal Murray? Like, I mean, he didn't really show up yesterday?
Well, so, no, and listen, what have I always said? This is one of my greatest takes. Honestly, one of the greatest takes.
Let's hear it.
No life better than being the 12th to 25th best basketball player alive. No life better. You make the same money as the very best. When you're awesome, you get sick nicknames, and we're talking about you in these amazing ways. And in a game 7, when you're 6 for 16 with 2 assists and a minus 21, you get brought up 40 minutes into the show discussing the game. Yeah, like nobody gives a shit. It's just such a sick life.
I mean, like, could they shop him? Like,
no, yeah. So listen, Jamal does have value, but one of Wild's best takes is that basketball fans shouldn't have to be accountants to, figure out their team and to be a fan of their team and that stuff. And the second apron stuff has forced us to all become to a degree. But when I'm just pulling up on my phone the Nuggets cap sheet, Jamal has a 4-year contract starting next year.
Oh.
That is 4 years, $207 million. Does he have value? Absolutely. Does he have, massive value given the contract? I'm not sure. And also, the Jokic-Murray pick and roll is still the thing that works better than anything else they do. So they need those young guys to take a leap. They need a lot of stuff. And it does feel, Demonte, like while we were all, hand up for me at least, but it wasn't just me, holding on to 2 eras ago, the LeBron, Steph, Durant, Kawhi era, even going into this postseason. After that game 2 by Kawhi, people like the Clippers can win the championship. I thought the Lakers were going to win the championship. The Warriors, after beating the Rockets, a lot of people, playoff Jimmy's in that group as well. Jimmy, Harden, holding on to that era, and now everyone kind of accepting
it's a new day.
The only way for that era to sustain is by someone from another era like Luka joining LeBron or Giannis joining Steph or whatever it is. In the midst of all that, I think there now has to be a real consideration. Did the Joker, Giannis, Embiid era also close as far as championship windows? Championship. Like, is it now Shai and Ant and Brunson? And like, I know those are the guys left, but those are also the teams that you feel like are positioned. Like right now, for Embiid, Giannis, and Joker, the last 3 MVPs before Shai wins his, and 2 of the 3 best players in the world. Can any of those 3 guys realistically think that in what's left of their prime, say at 3 years for each of them, they can win a championship without changing teams? I don't think so. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if you got to change teams, then change teams, right? I mean,
right, but so Giannis is. Embiid's contract's underwater.
Embiid.
Joker is, meanwhile, somebody in the Blue Duck Studios, because DeMonte's at home today, check on Daniel. Daniel might be committing seppuku right now. Like we're talking about like the Joker era ending. I mean, I don't know how this poor guy, like
Embiid, I see the problem though, unfortunately. But those other guys need it.
Yeah, no, but
else.
it's really hard.
Or just like force the best player on the team. Like, can't you like force ownership's hand? Like, get some guys around me.
This is the point I'm making.
Giannis did it already.
Giannis did it.
Sorry.
Giannis did it, and now Giannis might force them to move him. So let me try to put a pin in, or put a exclamation point on the Joker conversation. He is going to be. So you guys know how much I love these player ranking stuff. I've done the top 12 a bunch. Again, if you're new to the show, LeBron, Kareem, Michael, Magic, Russell, Wilt, Duncan, Kobe, Bird, Akeem, Shaq, Steph. There's your 12. And in fact, I even had a pretty cool graphic about it. About the, how high can Joker go. And then right outside that top 12 is the group Joker's in, with Dr. J and Moses, a bunch of old timers, Elgin, Oscar West, and then Giannis and Durant. All, you know what I mean? And that wasn't in order. That was just the group. It is going to be, I think, very difficult. Not even very difficult. I'll go ahead and say it. I think it is going to be impossible for Joker to crack that top 12 without either a bunch of super deep playoff runs, and by that I mean like 4 years where you're in the finals / conference finals every year, or without winning a championship, or one more championship. Like, I just think he's got a hard ceiling, because when you look at those guys in the top 12, again, I'm not a count the rings guy, but the rings have to matter. All of them have 2. And the only guys with just 2 are Akeem, the greatest defensive player maybe ever, and certainly in the last 50 years, and Wilt, the guy who averaged 50 in a game for a season. Everyone else is 3+. And so it wouldn't, so that's the missed opportunity.
If you had a bet right now, it sounds like, would you take Jokic winning another ring in his career? Sounds like you're pretty iffy about it.
I don't think so.
What odds would it have to be for you to take that?
What odds? Oh, yeah. You gave me 2-1. Do I think he has a 1 in 3 chance? Yeah. You know what? But like even money, I would say no. I just think he's. Say it again.
This shocks me with like how high you were putting him. I think there's no way Jokic goes the rest of his career without winning another ring.
I just don't know
where he gets it at.
What Denver does to not have, because here's the problem. Houston is coming. Houston's, they were the 2 seed. Oklahoma City is loaded for bear. Minnesota, back-to-back conference finals for Minnesota. Like Anthony Edwards now, it's insane to say, but it's true. He has as many conference finals appearances as Joker. 2. So there's just, I think it might make more sense if you look at it more like the window was 21 to last season. Like that, and you have the year, Jamal tears his ACL, or maybe 19 to last season, whatever it would have been. Jamal misses a postseason or 2. You win a championship. Last year is how the hell did that happen to us in Game 7? And then this year, fire your coach and you end up where you're at.